Okay, welcome to the CW Kanban for Autotask webinar. We've got some exciting news coming up that we wanted to share with you. And also a couple of special things for you, for anybody who has been waiting for Autotask. We know there's been numerous folks who see what we are doing for Kanban for ConnectWise, and you as Autotask users have wanted to join in. And we want to say thank you for being patient while we got this up and going. And so stay to the end, and we have some special offers for you as a way to say thanks for waiting while we got the Autotask ready. Okay. First of all, where are we as far as what are we doing for Autotask? We have, see what I did there? We have a Kanban board to show you exactly where we are. We have backlog started, done. Let's talk about what's done first. So we, as part of the work to get going with Autotask, there was actually a lot of things that needed to be changed in the back end of the Kanban app to start supporting anything other than ConnectWise. Obviously, when we started this, we all just we only really considered ConnectWise. We didn't see maybe what sort of big hit it would be. So there was work that needed to be done in a lot of areas. So one obviously was syncing the data from Autotask, things like tickets, resources, companies, accounts, and projects and things like that. And that's done. We have a good process now for syncing data and getting our own copy of that so that we can show it on Kanban boards. Another thing that's done has been, well, like I mentioned, certain assumptions made in the application that it was only going to be ConnectWise specific. We had to change all those things. So we ripped out the ConnectWise specific bits deep within the application. And we also we've done substantial refactoring over the last few months to make it easy to add new types of boards and also swim lanes. So now it is about as easy as it's ever been for us as developers to start adding that functionality. So now we're through a lot of the back end stuff that isn't really, it's not really apparent, but it's all necessary work that is a foundation. And now that we're done that, now we can start building the actual useful stuff. So we have started on the Kanban boards, and that's kind of the minimum functionality. Once this bit is complete, which we expect, I would expect that sometime next week. That's what I'm hoping for, so that this will be, this is 50% of the functionality here, to be able to look at the board and visualize things and see where your work is at. So hoping we can get the first customers on board for that sometime next week. And then this is, I don't know, maybe 30% of the functionality. So supporting dragging and dropping for changing status of tickets and pushing those changes back to your database in Autotask. So I say, if this is 50% of the overall functionality and to make things useful, then this is another 30%. So and this would be fairly straightforward. I think we're actually going to be starting this kind of in at the same time. Well, coming up very soon, so we'll be working on this at the same time as we're working on this. So I'd expect probably both of these things will be available next week or towards the end of the next week. And there you go, 80% of the total functionality. And there's a few more things that we wouldn't, well, I would consider them sort of minimum functionality. You can certainly get good use out of the board without some of these things, but we do consider these things key. So that's why they're here. That's why we'll be doing them next. So we want to integrate the logins with the Autotask members. So what this will allow you to do is not, we won't have to manage your user accounts manually for Kanban. It will just take the records from Autotask and set up the users for Kanban straight from what it sees in Autotask. A page for editing the Kanban boards. So we will, even when this part is already done, we will have a very basic page, a way to edit the Kanban boards to determine how they actually work and what tickets they show. However, we will make an even easier way to do that. So that's what this represents. And then having page filters so that users can apply their own filters. For example, to say, I only want to see my tickets. So that's another key thing that we'll be doing here in the next couple of weeks. And then a whole lot of other invisible things. There's certainly, launching a new product like this, there's very many things to do. So this would include things like getting callbacks set up so that we are notified when you change a ticket as soon as possible. And just, writing the documentation for how you set that up on your side with your Autotask account, things like that. I see, just a second here, I see a question about managing projects and project tasks. Will these be manageable the same as tickets? Yeah, so ConnectWise, it's a little bit of an advantage because service tickets are actually the same. Well, project tickets and service tickets were kind of the same thing. So we didn't have to do this separately. In Autotask, they are actually separate types of records. So we will need to build that out separately, but we do definitely intend to do the project, add support for tasks. That will be very soon. In fact, I think I was gonna speak to that in just a moment, but we're certainly going to do that. Okay, so I have an example here. This is what we have, just an example of us, the data that we do have here. This is obviously Autotask. We have a couple tickets here, which are these tickets here. So this is a little screenshot of the back end of our application showing that, yep, the data is getting in there, just not shown in a Kanban board just yet. So this is the rest of the roadmap. So what we intend to do is focus on Autotask until we bring it up to the same level as our ConnectWise functionality. That is one of the goals that we've set for this quarter. So by the end of December is to get this functionality all done, so that we're not dragging out over and over for a long time. We do want to consider this a key part of our functionality now and work on it till it at least matches ConnectWise by the end of December. So the rough order after the stuff I've already pointed out, things like the integrating with the logins and whatnot, those sorts of things. So after that, we intend to add swim lanes. Some of the work we've done, some of the back-end work we've done makes this actually pretty straightforward to be able to add new swim lanes now. Be able to assign and unassign members, to be able to enter time for technicians. That is something that has been very well received on our ConnectWise side, for technicians to be able to enter time directly in Kanban. So we intend to do that for Autotask. Updating the ticket priority is a useful thing, especially for dispatch. We want to add support for the SLAs because that's in a service environment, that's pretty key in order to be able to manage 2 SLAs and show those on Kanban boards. We want to add then support for the sales opportunities and the project tasks. So that's what I was mentioning there. We intend to do that, and then add support for the method we have for customizing the appearance of cards. In ConnectWise, we have a way to make change a card background color, the border, and a couple of other things, how the card looks based on certain properties of the tickets, and we want to do that as well for excuse me, for Autotask as well. And then that would make it pretty much complete with ConnectWise. And so we're not going to release these, as in big chunks. You're not going to have to wait until we're all done with all of this to even get the swim lanes. What we're going to do is release these as they are built. So when swim lanes are stable, then we're going to make them available to everybody. That is part of what we believe as a lean organization, as an agile organization, not shipping this when this is ready, not waiting until everything is done, just to, even though we have this, this is ready. So that's what it means to us to be to develop in a lean and agile way. So I wanted to take a minute or two to just kind of talk about what are the benefits of Kanban and remind ourselves why would you want to use Kanban instead of or in addition to Autotask. So one reason is that it answers a lot of questions about what's actually going on and what are people working on today. So this is obviously this is Autotask, so this is the service manager view for Autotask, at least one of the views. And, it's a nice dashboard. But what a dashboard is good for is looking well into the future and also reviewing in the past how things have gone so that you can make changes going forward. But it's really a dashboard like this is not very good actually for guiding what is the team doing today. In particular, it doesn't say, it doesn't give us any idea about who's busy. We say here is a count of who has a certain number of tickets, but just seeing a number of tickets is not enough to do any real management. It doesn't say if these are big tickets or small tickets. It doesn't say if they've been in progress for, or if they've been open for a week or 2 weeks, or just a few days, or even a few minutes or hours. So it doesn't. This sort of view is not sufficient for guiding service management. Autotask also has a view like this. This is like the calendar dispatch board. So this one is useful for certain things, but also, again, it's not a great way to manage work. As your first way to manage work, it's okay for managing the things that actually need to be done at a certain time of day. But most work in an MSP isn't like that. We don't need to necessarily do everything at a certain time of day. We just need to work to the list of priorities. And this has a few problems. One is that, like I was saying, it's extra work to do, in that the customers don't necessarily care when work is done or what time of day work is done. So it's wasted effort there on the part of the dispatcher, and more complicated for the technician to work to that. Second is that it leads to a large work in progress. Tickets tend to get started but not get finished with this sort of work, because if the dispatcher says, okay, there's an hour for such and such a ticket, well, if that ticket actually requires more than an hour, which happens frequently, we all know, when that happens, the technician may stop working on that ticket when the hour is up and it needs to be rescheduled. So there's a ticket there for a while, at least, that has an hour of work done on it, and it only needed 15 more minutes to be done, but there it is, waiting to be rescheduled again. And the third problem is that it offers no way for engineers to give feedback to service managers. It doesn't matter if the entry in the calendar doesn't say anything about whether it was the engineer worked on it and finished it, or worked on it and didn't finish it, or maybe didn't actually work on that ticket at all during that time. But the calendar doesn't reflect that. So you need to still have some other way to give that feedback from the engineer to the service manager. So here's one. So this is the engineer's dashboard. Again, it's a lot of information maybe for looking forward or looking back, but it really says very little about the specific. In fact, it says nothing about the specific things that need to be done today. It counts, okay, you got 2 open tickets for today, but obviously that's not enough for the engineer to decide what to work on. That's just a summary. Now here is the zoomed in version of that. Here are the 2 tickets that need to be worked, but here there's no indication of the priority. The ordering here doesn't represent anything meaningful. In fact, you can order things just by clicking on the title here. So it's just a report. It's just a table of information, but there's no indication of the priority indicated by a service manager or project manager or anybody at all. So this is why this is a bit weak and not that useful for determining what an engineer should be doing right now. And this is what Kanban is for, because Kanban, as a view like this, offers you a lot of information about what's happening. In fact, that's almost the entire purpose of a board like this, is to show you just the right amount of information about the specifics of what's going on and what status they've been in. And in Kanban, in our Kanban product, we also have indicators that show how long a ticket has been in a certain status, or when was the last activity on a certain ticket, such as when was the last time entry made on it. And so you can also see that when a ticket starts to get old, like a lot of these red things here indicate that the tickets haven't been touched in a while, and so that's very valuable information both for a technician and for the service manager to go and focus on these tickets and see why aren't they moving forward through the pipeline that we expect. So it shows, yeah, this one shows what's already been started, very apparent based on the column that they're in. It shows us the work that's queued up here, and not just the work that's queued, but also their relative priorities, because we should always be working what's at the top of the, well, when a technician needs new work to do, they'll go to the top of the queued column and work from there. And we also see what is waiting on stuff outside the team. So we have a column here for stuff that is blocked, needing something to happen that's outside the team, frequently more information from the customer, something like that. And also what's been scheduled, because this actually needs to be done at a certain time in the future, like when someone goes on site, or it's an outage, so it needs to happen in the evening on next week, something like that. So it's very, very useful for all of these purposes. And when we add the swim lanes here, so this is a similar board, but now we have it split up by, this is an example of a swim lane by technician board. So we have a swim lane here for tickets that actually aren't assigned to anybody, followed by a swim lane here for one technician, and then if we scroll the board down, we'd see swim lanes for all of the members who have tickets on this board. So this sort of view is very useful to see how the work is distributed among, well, in this view, it shows you how it's distributed among the different members of your team, to see who's too busy, who's just right busy, who's not busy enough, or who doesn't have any work queued up for themselves, if that's how your workflow goes, and that could be a problem. If you do swim lanes by project, it can show you which projects have a lot of work to do right now, or which projects don't have so much, and so on. So let's talk a little bit about how are you actually going to join us when we're ready. Actually, we are already ready to take your orders for Autotask. So you can go ahead and do this now. You could go to that page. There's a link there that will take you to our shopping cart, and you could sign up. When we will always arrange it so that, like, even if you paid us today, we would make sure that your term only starts when we actually onboard you. So, you know, if it takes us a week and a half before you actually have access to the application, then we'll make sure that your term actually starts on that date, not just today, if that happens to be when you paid us, as an example. So after you subscribed, then you would make us an Autotask account and you'd send us the credentials. So that would be so that we can get into your system and get this ticket data out of it. We will send you instructions for that. After that, after we get your credentials, we would set up your application and set up your list of users, and then you would be able to get started configuring your boards and visualizing your tickets on your boards. We would do training together pretty quickly after that to make sure that you're comfortable with the application and comfortable with at least getting started with Kanban techniques in your organization. And then the rest is up to you. You'll improve your efficiency, you'll reduce your stress, you'll make your customers happy, and you'll look like a hero in your organization. I wanted to make sure that you are familiar with our referral program and know that we have one. It's our way to say thank you for not keeping us a secret. So if you have friends that use either Autotask or ConnectWise, doesn't matter, and you refer them to us, and they sign up, then you'll get either $50 or $100 in account credit, depending on kind of what level that they sign up for. The details are here, but when they've signed up, then actually they will get that same credit as well. So you would get that credit, and then we would give that to them as well to say, we're happy you joined your friends in using Kanban. So here's the pricing. This is actually exactly the same as our ConnectWise pricing, $27 a month per licensed member, or $21 a month if you pay that annually. It's good savings if you go annually, and actually we have some even better savings for annual plans and longer terms. I'll show you that in just a second. So what this actually is, that allows you to show a ticket one license allows you to show tickets that are assigned to one member. So how that essentially works, I mean, roughly speaking, that means if you have a service team or a project team and everyone is using that to manage their work, you know, if you have 7 members on your team, then you're going to need 7 licenses. Roughly speaking, it doesn't need to be complicated, but there are some savings because of how that licensing works. If you, for example, if you have a team of 7 members in a service team, and then the service manager, but the service manager doesn't actually have tickets assigned to himself or herself, then that person doesn't need a license themselves because they don't have tickets assigned. So they don't have any tickets that need to be shown on the Kanban board. So it would just be the 6 or 7 actual technicians who have their own tickets that would need to be licensed. We also offer some training. We call it the Elite Team Training. So if you want to adopt Kanban practices in your organization, but you don't know how, then we are certainly happy to take your hand and help you and teach you exactly what you need to do. So this Elite Team Training for about $2,500 is 8 customized sessions for exactly where you are at whatever you're doing in your organization. Will take you from there to wherever you want to go in a Kanban workflow and teach you exactly how to do that. The ROI on that can be pretty terrific if you know you get from wherever you are right now to a good efficient Kanban process. If you can do that in 2 months because of this training instead of 8 or 12 months or however long it may take you to do it yourself, if that's what would happen, then the ROI on that is pretty good. So you can get in touch with us about that if you're interested. So this might be the part that a lot of you are interested in. This is what we want to offer for anyone who would like to go on a longer term because you're convinced that Kanban is going to be a game changer for you. So we want to offer some discounts for longer terms. We want to offer for anybody who goes. We already have good pricing for the 1-year terms, but for you who have waited for Autotask, we want to offer you an additional 10% off the normal annual rates for a 1-year term using this promo code at the checkout. For 2 years, if you want to do a 2-year term, we'll give you 20% off. And then for a 3-year term, 30% off. So that makes it a very, very attractive rate for a longer term. So what some of the rules around that, this is what we want to see. So this is available if anytime you submit your payment in October. So anybody who goes on a longer term and pays in October will be able to take advantage of these rates. That doesn't mean you have to start in October. So if we go back to the roadmap, let's suppose that you consider swim lanes to be absolutely necessary. You say, I don't really want to use Kanban until it has swim lanes. That's no problem. You still pay in October, but we will start your term, like I mentioned, we'll start your term whenever we actually onboard you, and that can be when you say. So you say, I need swim lanes. So we'll let you know when we've shipped the swim lanes feature, and then we'll get you onboarded, and that's when your term, your 1, 2, or 3-year term will start. And we'll also throw in any license upgrades during the term. Just get in touch with us and we'll make sure that you get that favorable pricing anytime during this term. I see a couple of questions here. Is 10% off the $21 a month annual pricing? Yes, that's correct. So no one's actually, well, as long as you pay in October, no one is going to pay the $21 rate. So what would that be actually? So if you pay in October, your rate just automatically will be $18.90 per license per month. So everybody can get that as long as you pay in October. And then again, if you go on a 2-year term, then that's 20% off the regular annual rate. Someone also asked, actually, I have a couple of questions here. I will keep those ones for the end. Okay, so more on the early bird pricing. You are going to get early access to Kanban, which for you could be a competitive advantage. start improving your workflows now. We are going to send you a book, either your choice of either the Phoenix Project, which is well known for teaching a lot of techniques about Kanban and other Agile and Lean techniques, or you can have Making Work Visible, which is a shorter book that kind of focuses on more of the Kanban techniques. You're going to be able to influence the roadmap. For example, let me hop back here. Where was our roadmap slide? For example, one thing could be, if this is really important to you, the tasks, project stuff, we've already had the one question about that. If we get feedback from a few people that this is actually quite critical, then we may go ahead and just bump this up. Maybe we'll do it after swim lanes. So we're happy to, this is part of the reason why we're doing this, is because we want to fill this need based on what people need in this group here that is coming on early. So we want to get that feedback. So, being part of this early bird group, you'll be able to provide that feedback into the roadmap. You can participate in the referral program and the unlimited email and chat support. Yeah, and in fact, we're happy to even get on a screen share with you if you need something like that for help. And we only have a couple of expectations. One is we do want you to provide us with feedback. So if something isn't working quite right, or if you have some good ideas, definitely send that over to us. We want to hear from you. And we'd also expect that you do the training and adopt the methods. I guess that's kind of doesn't even need to be said, because you are the group that has been waiting for a while. So we know that you're excited about this. And that's actually it that we had for as far as my agenda. Now I'll open it up for questions and answers, and I'll start with the one that I would foresee. Are you going to change the CW in CW Kanban? Obviously, CW stands for ConnectWise. So yes, the answer is yes, we are going to change that. There will be some rebranding coming up. One of our other goals for this quarter is to figure out what we want to do. And that's about as far as we've gotten, to be honest, knowing that we want to do it. So yes, there are going to be some branding changes coming, and we hopefully by the end of the quarter, we're not called CW Kanban anymore, or at least we have a start going towards this rebranding. But yes, the answer is yes. Now I'll take the questions that we already have here. Will we need to maintain an Autotask account for the Kanban system to use, or will it use an API account after it's set up? Yeah, so one thing we still need to do is get nail down those sorts of details exactly. So that is certainly something that we'll be figuring out kind of this week, because obviously that is a prerequisite for getting any information out of your system. But yes, it's going to be an API account. Another question. Do we have a sandbox for us to try it out? No, we don't have a sandbox for you to try it out, but we have two things that we can offer instead of that, which will give you a good idea of what you want to do. So the one is we offer demo calls, and I should have that on a slide here, but I don't. But there's basically, if you go to our website, cwkanban.com, just the home page there's the big image and button at the top. Click that big button. It says schedule a call, and just go through there. Put a time in my calendar, and I will have a one-on-one call with you. And you can ask me anything you want. Well, I'll show you what exactly Kanban can do. It'll be well, I guess it depends on when you schedule it. If you do it right now, then I'll show you the Kanban for ConnectWise. If you do wait a little bit, then I might be able to show you the Kanban for Autotask. But it will be, substantially the same, of course. But schedule a call, and I'll be happy to show you whatever you want. The other thing is we offer a trial, which you could start up now. We are happy to offer a trial with unlimited users for the first month. So that mostly applies to our monthly plans, where we offer a promotional code for what we do is we charge half the rate for 3 users. So what in the end, what you get is you pay about $40, and then you get unlimited users for the first month. So that would be instead of offering a sandbox, we offer a very, very low risk paid trial. So you can use unlimited licenses. So if you were at all concerned about what Kanban is going to offer you, you can you're more than welcome to wait until we can make this available to you and sign up for the monthly plan. For the first month, you'll pay $40 or so, and you'll get unlimited users. Now, if you want to, if we're able to ship, make this available to you sometime next week, then you could sign up for that for the monthly plan. And then if you wanted to, if you take the week or maybe 2 weeks to look at that, decide if that is going to work for your organization, then you can certainly still get in with the early bird promotion by paying in October and transferring to the 1 or 2 or 3 year terms. So that's how we'll make it work if you want to get just kind of try it out before committing to a long term. And of course, no one has to commit to a long term. We are always offering it on a month to month basis. So if you are concerned, you're not certain that you want to use Kanban for your organization, no problem. Just stay on the monthly term. That's what it's for. Someone has asked, if we want to use your Kanban boards as dashboard in our rooms or large displays and not on technicians' PCs, we have to pay for the 6 technicians. Yes, yes and no. We do offer another, a separate pricing plan. So if that might be a candidate, if you wanted to use it for that mode. So we, excuse me, so we do offer it what we call the manager plan. So that's a little bit different, and that is for organizations where they don't, like this person had asked, where they maybe don't want the whole team to go in and be using Kanban. The technicians aren't going to go in themselves to view their list of work and to be dragging cards around the board to indicate their statuses. Maybe they are just going to be either used by a manager, service manager, project manager, dispatcher sort of role for organizing that work, or a different role would be to show that on one TV in your office, big screen. So that's a little bit of a different pricing. In the so for that sort of role with the regular pricing, if you say you had 8 technicians, so you would need to show these cards that are assigned to 8 different people. So then in our normal team role, or the elite team licensing, you would have to pay for the 8 licenses. But we have gotten feedback that's a prohibitive for organizations that do just want the manager to use it, or do just want to use it on a big screen TV in the office for the visualization. So for that sort of use, if you only want to do it for the manager or for the big TV, you could sign up for the Agile plan, and so the Agile Manager plan. And so that has different pricing. That is for one license, so that would be for one manager to use it, or for one TV, that would be $119 a month for one license there, or $99 if it's paid annually. And those promo codes do apply to that plan as well for the longer terms there. And so what you get with one of those licenses is one person can log in, or one TV can log in. But in that case, you can show tickets that are assigned to up to 10 members. So instead of having to buy, the 8 licenses for to show tickets that are assigned to the 8 different members, you can buy the 1 license, but that gives you permission to show tickets that are assigned to up to 10 members. So, you know, for a team that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sort of licenses, members, then the pricing for that is better if you choose the manager mode. Now, we don't necessarily recommend manager mode. It is for that one specific use case because we see a lot more value in the whole team using it, because that's when you're going to start to see the improved efficiency, the less waste, and all the benefits of Kanban when your whole team is using it. So we would encourage you to use the Agile team mode, but if that's what you're really interested in, then we do have an attractive offer for the manager or TV use case. Another question, for the 3-year price plan, is that all 3 years paid up front or paid annually for 3 years? Yeah, it is for the whole 3 years paid up front. That might seem like a lot, but we actually have had people do that. That's actually part of how we finance the original ConnectWise product. We did have some folks who paid on long terms like that up front. So yes, yeah, so it's all up front. Do you offer tier level pricing for larger MSPs with 40 or more resources? We have, what we've said is for 50 or more. And I think that's what we posted on our website. If you have 50 or more, you're thinking of getting licensing for 50 or more members, then yes, let's get in touch and we can talk pricing there. Another question here, on the annual contract, can you output multiple boards to multiple screens in the NOC? Yeah, so that would go back to how I was explaining our different Agile team mode versus the Agile manager mode of licensing. So with the Agile team plans, that's where everybody can get in to Kanban and use the visualizations, use the boards. Then yeah, we don't really care. You can do like whatever you want. You can have everybody log in, and you know, I had mentioned even that a service manager who doesn't have tickets assigned to themselves, they don't actually even need a license. They're welcome to use that, even though they're not necessarily licensed themselves. Yeah, you get your whole team in there when you're on the Agile manager mode. Sorry, I used the wrong name there. When your whole team is in there, then that's what you can do when you have the Agile team mode. And when if you are looking to have multiple boards on multiple screens in your NOC, and that's all you want it for, you don't want necessarily all of the teams to get in there and using it themselves, then I don't know, we may look at licensing that based on, you know, one manager license per screen, but to be okay, sorry, the one who's asking this is clarifying. So multiple boards in the NOC with the team plan. Yes, so for the team plan, it's easy. You do whatever you want. You can have as many Kanban boards as you want, and you can have as many as many different screens showing as many different boards as you want. Because in this mode, it really is just about how many different distinct members are we showing the tickets for. So if you have, because I guess we figured that it will kind of scale with the number of licenses that you're buying anyway, right? So if you have a smaller team, say 5 people in your team, you're probably not going to have 10 boards, you know. So you're going to have, you know, whatever number of boards you might have for a team of 5 people. It's not going to be that much, and so we're really just charging for the tickets that you show on the Kanban boards, and how you want to display that is up to you. If you are licensing 25 or 50 members and you're going to have more screens, then, you know, no problem having more screens, because you're also licensing more, paying for the licenses for more of those members. So we're happy to do that. So yeah, if you're going to go on the team plan, you know, knock yourself out, do whatever you want. Now, for more questions and that sort of thing, I would really encourage you to schedule a call. Just go to cwkanban.com and click the big link there to schedule a call, and we can certainly answer all of those specific sorts of questions. Hopefully I haven't confused anybody. Okay, and the last question that I have so far is, we currently use Teams Kanban. How similar is it? I'm not familiar with Teams Kanban, so actually I don't know if I can answer that. Yeah, I guess I'm not familiar with Teams Kanban by that name. But for the one who asked that, if you'd like to know more, certainly schedule up that call, and I will try to do whatever I help you understand how it's different. Okay, that's all the questions that I have right now. Thank you everyone for attending. I will stay on the line for another moment or two if you want to submit a new question. But while I let people off who are who have listened to everything, thank you for attending. We hope that you've learned a thing or two, and get in touch. If you want any more details, certainly get in touch. And I want to thank you for your time for attending. We will send out another message when we are actually available to, we are ready to publish Kanban and get you on board. Okay, well, having no further questions, I just want to say thanks to everyone. And if you need a recording, let us know.